Hello everyone! In the last video, we introduced the attributes of Survival Defense and Daze Assault. In this episode, we will discuss the aspects of damage calculation. The third and fourth categories are the parts most concerned with damage composition. Let's start with the third category, direct damage. Direct damage is the most visibly intuitive type of damage in the game. In situations where anomaly attribute damage is not involved, all attack damages in absolute zero can be directly applied to this straightforward formula. Final damage, shatter, base damage area, X amplification area, X critical damage area, X attribute resistance area, X defense area, X vulnerability area, X daze vulnerability area. The base value defaults to 1. Some of you might find this formula very familiar. That's right, it's the same type used in Honkai Star Rail. Players familiar with this formula should know that damage calculation in Zenless Zone 0 is quite straightforward, with the most important aspect being the sources of damage from each multiplicative section. So, here, I'll briefly explain this part to you and include the detailed calculation formula in the image. 1. Base damage area. Composed of the character's attack power and the skill damage multiplier, as suggested by the word base in its name, it is the starting point of the damage caused. Its level largely determines the upper and lower limits of the output. These two values can be directly viewed in the character panel and skill page, and can also be seen in the pause menu during combat. Formula: attack power, X damage multiplier. 2. Amplification area refers to in-game fields that increase or decrease certain types of damage, corresponding to this multiplication area. Amplification effects generally come from W engines and drive discs, with a few also appearing in skills. For example, the Chaotic Metal series of drive discs in the game, where the two-piece set effect includes an attribute damage increase. Formula: 1. 100%. Plus, all damage increase-decrease effects. 3. Critical hit area composed of critical hit rate and critical damage attributes. When a character's attack triggers a critical hit, the corresponding damage number will increase and have indicated. Since we know that critical damage depends on whether a hit is critical or not, we've derived the following simple formula. Non-critical hit, damage, 1, 100%. Critical hit, damage equals 1, 100%. X critical damage, expected value of critical damage cycle, 1, 100%. Plus, critical rate, X critical damage. 4. Resistance area. This refers to an enemy's damage reduction or increase for specific attributes. In the game, you can generally know the advantageous attributes before entering an instance. Additionally, players can use the Phaeton Codex function at the workbench in the protagonist's house to look up enemy weaknesses and resistance information. The Phaeton Codex provides information on all enemies encountered in the Hollow Zero region. If you are in combat, players can also judge by the color of the damage dealt to the enemy. If an enemy has low resistance to a particular attribute, the corresponding damage number will flash white. If the enemy has high resistance, the damage number will turn gray. This is the game's attribute counter and resistance mechanism. Typically, the resistance for counter and resistance is plus 20%. In most cases, an enemy's resistance to non-counter and non-resist attributes is 0, with ether-resistant enemies having 10% resistance. Additionally, some characters have resistance-ignore attributes, which have been tested and found to belong to the same category as resistance reduction attributes. Formula: 1, 100%, resistance, plus resistance penetration. 5. Defense area. As the name implies, this is the enemy's defense damage reduction area. Each enemy's base defense is different, but follows the same growth curve, increasing with level. Conversely, there is another attribute that also grows with level, the level base. In the game, level suppression is based on the attribute known as the level base. This attribute, combined with the enemy's defense, forms the final calculation formula for this multiplier area. Attacker LV, enemy defense, plus attacker LV. Before applying this formula, however, it is necessary to calculate penetration and adjustments to defense to accurately determine the enemy's defensive attribute. The formula for this is as follows. Enemy defense. Base defense, X DFS modifier plus fixed defense. X, 1 pen ratio. Pen value. In the third beta, enemy defense stop increasing after reaching LV60. 6, vulnerability area. This refers to the damage modifiers applied to a target. This area includes not only damage amplification, but also damage reduction properties. Currently, in the game, only Nicole's additional abilities possess vulnerability modifiers, making it a very rare attribute. Formula 1, 100%. Plus. Target damage increase, target damage reduction. 7. Imbalance vulnerability area. When an enemy falls into a state of daze, the damage they receive is increased by the daze vulnerability bonus. In most cases, an enemy's daze vulnerability value is 50%, but some enemies have values of 25% or 100%. Certain effects in the game can increase or decrease an enemy's daze vulnerability. Formula 1, 100% halts daze vulnerability value. Additionally, ranged attack units have another special multiplier based on the distance between the character and the enemy. The farther the distance, the lower the damage multiplier. This value does not have a clear standard. That concludes our content for this episode. Next time, we will discuss the part about anomaly damage, which many of you are most interested in. If you like my video, hit the subscribe button. See you next time.